Alright, so let's just dive back in. So, here we go. I'm pretty much stuck working on the turrets. Didn't really leave much else for me. These are pretty small. They're like 6x7. I can do a little bit, something a little bit different for shape and size wise, but in general, it's a pretty small turret. Especially compared to something like my Sprinter, which is like, as I measure it here, where you can't see me, you know, it's pretty much 10x10, so this is notably smaller. Well, first things first, let's just gonna connect it, quote unquote, to the ground. I'll give it a little bit of a peg, just to make sure it solidly connects with the model. Let's bring it out. Oops, I should do that the other way. Yeah, I don't have a lot of room to work with here. Maybe if I do something like this. Bring that back. Yeah, that's not too bad. To do something to the side here. Actually, this is a good thing because I can do this. There. Now I know where to put the center. Right there. No contact. No clipping, which is good. Keeps things nice and neat. Let's see, is anything else going on? Not really. I mean, I'm still more like haven't actually done any writing lately. Like, the last couple weeks have not been good for creative enterprises, I guess you could say. Not done any writing, not done any painting, not really done any art because I've been wanting to do it on stream. And luckily that's all starting to turn around. But I definitely, the writing has been kind of like weighing on me a little bit. I keep thinking about the story I'm writing and like how I can, you know, write it. So, and I think I know where I'm going with it now. I need to do a little bit of rewriting to tweak some things, but generally speaking, it's kind of, I got things where I want them to be, which is nice. Actually, what I can do with these, sorry. Bam, bam, bam. And if I'm making this a plasma weapon, I can easily just do pivots from here. The only thing I really need to do is just kind of do this. There. See, now that gives me like a good 45 degrees I can go if I really need to. I shouldn't, but if I need to. Gonna give this a little bit of a doodad. Actually, this I guess will be the targeter. One thing I've been doing on just along my guns is giving like a little targeter, just a little somewhere I could put just a little bit of red paint. And I've been painting up, well, I've painted up my sprinters. Actually, yeah, the sprinters are all done. So that's, wait, are they all done? Am I lying? Let me go take a look. Yeah, okay, sprinters are all done. I've done 2 of my Kodiaks. Well, one's almost done. So I've done 1.8 Kodiaks. So that means I've got 2 blank ones, 2.2 blank ones. I'm working on a Sledgehammer, Hailfire, Fusillade, and Inferno. The Inferno's going along pretty well. A few little tweaks I might make to the model in the future. We'll see. Actually, in 3D printing news, but okay, sorry. So yeah, the Kodiaks have it. They've pretty much all got something similar, at least for the cannons. And I like that, so I think I'll keep that theme going. Technically these are plasma, but I still want to keep the theme going, so I'm gonna do it. There's nothing you can do about it. Hahaha. Yeah. Actually, there's not a really good place for it on this short barrel, because that's gonna be, oh, I guess I could do it here. It's not quite as good, but it shouldn't really matter that much. Anyways, sorry. 3D printing news. So Shapeways is working on orientation stuff, which is honestly, like, it doesn't, I know it doesn't necessarily sound it, but it's a pretty big deal. It's going to mean that I can design essentially just better kits, or better designs, and key among them is going to be the idea of just doing a kit like I've done. Well, if you've seen my Shapeways shop, Shapeways shop, you've probably seen the torrent suppression mech kit I've done. The kit itself is nice. I mean, it's expensive. It's $30, or no, like 35 or something, depending. 35 USD, I think. Could be wrong on that. And I mean, and it's just the unfortunate truth that that's what it needs to be in order for me to, you know, make a small amount of profit, and that's just how much it costs to print. It sucks. It's because it's a fair amount of money. But regardless, it's good news because doing stuff like that is better, because the biggest issue, especially when you get to things with lots of curves or anything like that, is because depending on orientation will change. Jeez, I'm really bad. I'm a bit out of practice, sorry guys. But it will change just the overall outcome of the model. So it means I'll probably end up having to go back and kind of quote-unquote redesign a few models, which I'm okay with, as long as, you know, there's reason to. And if they do the orientation right, there's going to be reason to. Some of them, like I talked about last time, the Hailfire, the Badger, and I think there's a couple more. There are a couple that I want to kind of redo regardless. So honestly, at this point, like obviously right now I'm working on the Bulwark, and that's fine. But going forward, I'm probably not going to do any more redesigns until I get just a bit more information about exactly how they're going to approach approach doing the orientation. Like, I know, like, initially they're just doing it in the sense that once they pick an orientation, they're always going to print that orientation, which is good in its own way. I mean, sometimes the biggest issue, like, I did this thing where I 3D printed a bunch of Digimon Digivices, and the first like few I ordered turned out great. They were in just the perfect orientation for them to look less like prints essentially, and that was great. But then on every single one of my subsequent orders, they were done in a less optimal orientation. So at least once it's consistent, I know what I'll be getting as before I get it, kind of thing. So it's a small step, but it's still, it's an important step, and it's a worthwhile step. So that's great. And then in the future, once they kind of iron out kinks and develop some software for it, which they have already done some work on, but regardless, you are going to be able to preemptively choose your orientation. Now, part of the issue that we've been talking about on their forums is the idea that not all designers understand the impact of orientation and how to deal with those designers essentially. And my thought process is that basically boils down to the idea that, well, you make it not optional is not the right word, but like an opt-in, and then just say, if you get it wrong, well, you get it wrong. They already kind of do something similar to that with their printed anyway option. So for me, like, that seems like a no-brainer. And sometimes, and there are plenty of designers that, have done enough work that they know what they want. And there's no point not giving it to them because, yeah, they already know. There's no point, like, holding it back from them. You're not saving them from anything. And full disclosure, I consider myself to be one of those people. But regardless, the good news is that at the end of the day, the takeaway is that it's coming, and that's great. And it's just pretty much a waiting game for it to actually happen. And I'm okay with that kind of waiting game, to be honest, because, yeah, it's good. So that's interesting. I'm probably, because of that, honestly, I might do the Bulwark anyways. It's a fairly, like, in terms of, as far as prints go, it's pretty large. So any stepping issue should be minimal, especially considering that at this point I've been, actively designing in a way that kind of like sidesteps some of those issues. So I might not do any more mech designs, or at least get them printed, until the orientation thing is in, simply because those tend to be much smaller prints, and so any stepping lines or print lines tend to be done worse on them, simply just because it's a smaller print, so it's gonna show up more, and that's fine. It's just just one more thing to account for, right? So yeah, I probably won't be doing any of those prints any more mech prints until orientation is at least in some instance. But we'll see. I mean, heck, it could still be like another 6 months before I can actually choose my orientation. So I might need to just order more prints before then. But so far so good. Let's talk a little bit about future, just so I can kind of use this as a chance to get my thoughts out. So I've worked on a couple designs now. I've worked on some of the Solar War stuff. That's gone alright. Let's actually just do this. Just want to see how it looks with both of them in there. Oops. Why is this blue lined? Okay, anyways, sorry. Let's just see how this rotates. Okay, no collision. So how does that look? Not bad. I might need to make this a bit higher or this a bit lower. Yeah, I just might need to do that. We'll see. Still kind of like it regardless, but I might just instead make this one a bit higher. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. Actually, what I can even do is make it come out of here, like this. That gives a nice little design element then. Bam. I might even move the gun back a little bit more to accommodate this. Huzzah! Oh, that's actually something I hadn't considered. How's it look if I stretch those out? See, at this point I might as well just connect it with this, because that'll kind of solve all my problems without doing anything too drastic. Bam. Delete. Delete. Yeah, because then this ends up being one color. I can do this. Okay. Not necessarily ideal, but this could certainly be a lot worse. I'll worry about the rest later. Keep working on the turret. Right, so future. So yeah, I have been working on stuff. I'm working on doing the Solar War stuff. I've been uploading all the little Lego vignettes I've done for Solar War stuff. That's been going well. Jeez. My throat is not doing good right now. Clearly not been doing this enough. So I've been working on that stuff. I forgot to set a timer. Shoot. Damn. I think we're getting close though. Just checking to see if there's some way you can easily check this. Not yet? Okay. I'd have to stop the recording. Okay, well, we'll go for another 10 minutes, and then just, if it's not enough, it's not enough, and I have to remind myself to not be an idiot and forget the timer. I need to make myself a little checklist that I can follow whenever I start or stop a stream. Because this is getting... Because I've recently gone through with all the video uploads to YouTube, I went through and checked all the things like, oh, you know, is there any weird gaps I got to account for or anything like that? And it turns out there's quite a few. And it's not ideal. So, definitely something I need to work on in the future. But, oh well. Certainly could be worse. So, you know, I've been uploading those, that's been going well. Just gotta keep going, I'll get it right eventually. I'm hoping to have the story, or rather the short story done soon. I mean, I don't know, like there's still like I've got a lot of writing left to do for that story, and honestly I'm not sure how well, oops, how well that'll go, quote unquote. It is a lot of action, like I've pretty much at this point got all the characters set up. It's mostly at this point being a case of I need to start writing the stuff that happens, which isn't too bad as far as things go in that sense. It is going to be a lot of action though. I mean, that's pretty much the entire remaining elements of the story is going to be just action stuff happening. But I'm hoping I say I want to get that done like this week, so that way I can kind of have it out there shortly after I do my big, like, quote-unquote media push for the YouTube channel, and kind of use that to get some steam, get on that hype train a little bit. But we'll see. At the end of the day, it's not gonna be done until I finish it. So if that takes longer, then if it takes too long, it takes too long. That's just the way it's gonna be. So. Here's hoping that it goes well. I've sat down with the intention to write a few times this week, and it's mostly just been a case of, oh, I got work, oh, I got this, oh, I got that, and I just never really sat down to it yet. Okay, that's actually bad. This needs to go further back. I wonder if I can do that. I think I'm gonna try and get this thing little prongs, quote unquote. I'm not sure how well this will work. This is a pretty small like it's a small turret, and then this is a pretty small detail on top of that. So we'll see. Unless you can't fault me for not trying. It shouldn't be too bad because it's all pretty tight into, all pretty tight into, like it's a small piece, but it's not really sticking out anywhere. Needs something more. Let's try that. I mean, like, I'm not going to know until I actually go through and do a test upload, but for now... See, the more I look at this, the more I don't like this here. I kind of like it better like that. I wonder if I can make a channel in here. That would look cool. It's gonna be a pretty small channel. This might not work. On the other hand, it might work. and then I will be very happy. Yeah, I guess I can just do it this way. I guess I bring that up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know how well that's gonna print, but we'll try it. I'll do it by doing it at the bottom because you won't see it or be able to paint it all that well. No point doing anything in here. Yeah, our very own little plasma cannon. I will honestly actually even bring this in just a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that. So we're gonna fix this problem by getting rid of it and doing it again. And I guess that doesn't really matter. Cut. Alright, so how does this look? Pretty cool. Although, now that the barrel's not so low, I can maybe bring this up a little bit more. Although now it's a lot harder to see. But I've merged it with the rest of the hole behind it. That looks pretty cool. Still a little undecided about this back. Needs a little something more. Doesn't feel like, definitely feel less substantial there, but it doesn't really feel fragile. Oops. Alright, I think we'll just call it here. This episode might end up being a little short, but considering I started at 2, took a break, went a little over extra on that first part, and it's 3:10 now, we're probably pretty close. So, got some good progress on this. Definitely a bit more progress than what we got with working on the Barracuda, but oh well. So I'll be back on Wednesday, and honestly I might even do some extra streams this week because I haven't done any art and it's nice to do it again. I might save the Bulwark for Wednesday for kind of like my guaranteed. One of the things I need to start thinking about is doing 3D models for my Solar War stuff on top, and this will be separate from all the Proxy War stuff. So I gotta think about that, start planning it out. I have obviously like the Lego models, which are going to go a long way in kind of working out proportions, stuff like that, but a lot of it's also going to come down to the model needs to be able to do stuff, right? Like reach across its chest, you know, be able to hold a rifle in like a very human-like stance, which is going to present some interesting challenges. A lot of Gundams aren't really capable of that, and when you have weird proportions, it's not easy. My set's not going to really have any kind of weird proportions, but I want to have a good range of motion. And from there, I've got a few ideas for design elements I'm going to include. Some stuff like the head is probably going to be a bit more hit and miss, simply because, well, you know, sorry, the Lego models don't really have a head. It's got 3 parts. 2 are square, 1 are round. That's not a full head. So it'll be interesting to work on that kind of stuff, but I really want to get the Solar War stuff moving because I like some of the stories I'm writing for it. Or I'm liking the story I'm writing for it. I've got a couple ideas of stories I want to write, and while I love Proxy War from like a game design perspective, it's not the easiest thing for me to write about because it revolves, like, there's no characters in a Proxy War army. There's the commander, which might have some elements of character. I've always kind of likened the idea of that the commanders are very similar to if you've ever read a book about the super tanks called Bolos, I kind of like the idea that they're very akin to that. They're not like they definitely speak and act in a way that identifies them as AIs, but they are not without character and human aspects to them. So, you know, they would have some level of character and there would definitely be some human interactions with them, but in terms of like fighting a battle, humans don't really play any part in it, and it comes down to then a lot more about actual world building of everything outside of the battles, which, don't get me wrong, is worthwhile in its own way, but it's not something that I'm really good at. It's probably the kind of thing where if I want to fully flesh that out, I might have to team up with someone else, because creating all that out of a vacuum for me is going to be very difficult, especially with just the fact that I'm not super worldly in that sense. So we'll see. But so yeah, hopefully some big things will be coming down the next week or two. This weekend I'm pretty busy, but obviously I had time for the stream, and I might Monday probably won't work too well. Tuesday might be a little tight. I'm not sure yet. Tuesdays are usually pretty rough on me during the day between shifts because it'll be my first overnight waking up for work deal of the week. So I might not do anything before Wednesday, but instead I might do something after Wednesday. Like I might do something on Thursday or Friday. I mean, Monday might work. Maybe what I'll do on Monday then is I'll do an early morning stream. Something like 7 or 8 in the morning. Early enough that I still have time to go out and do stuff in the rest of the day, but we'll see. I'm not gonna work on this anymore, but I've got lots of stuff to work on. So I will see you guys later. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching. Probably should have had it up for a while now, but oh well. Hopefully the music worked out alright for you guys. I'm gonna obviously double check the recordings I've got and gonna go in and edit them a little bit. Hopefully things work out. I think I'm gonna try and get a friend and to sit in on the stream to make sure next next time I do it. But until then, I will see you guys later.